Welcome to Walvis on Wire. Today we're getting into a topic that's really stirred things up quite a bit in Malaysia recently. When a political figure like the United Malays National Organization Youth Chief Akmal openly talks about teaching certain people a lesson and actually leads a crowd to demonstrate outside someone's shop, well, it raises some serious questions. Just like, imagine you're running a small business, working hard, and suddenly a group shows up outside protesting loudly. Whatever the reason, it's bound to affect your business, right? Your staff might feel unsafe. It directly hits ordinary people's livelihoods and just their sense of peace. So this whole approach of using demonstrations to, quote, solve problems, is that really okay? What do you think the real intention is behind this kind of move?
Yeah, it's definitely more complex than just a demonstration. This incident, stemming from the initial issue, quickly spiraled into a significant political discussion, especially the reactions from several prominent political figures. That's what we really need to unpack here.
Right. So the core event was Akmal, the UMNO Youth Chief, leading this group to a hardware store in Kepala Batas. But the thing that stands out is this happened after the business owner had already publicly apologized. And importantly, both the Inspector General of Police and the Penang Chief Police Officer had advised against holding any assemblies. But Akmal went ahead anyway.
That's a crucial detail. Anthony Loke, the Secretary General of the Democratic Action Party, was very clear in his interpretation of Akmal's motives. He basically called it out as bullying and intimidation targeted at the business owner. He argued that this kind of action crosses legal lines and also, goes against the principles of harmony in a multi-ethnic society like Malaysia. And the immediate impact was real nearby businesses felt uneasy. Some even closed early. It disrupted things.
It sounds really concerning, this sort of open challenge to order and maybe even the law. So Anthony Loke, DAP's Secretary General, he condemned it quite strongly.
Very strongly. He didn't just condemn it, he took concrete steps. He instructed the DAP Socialist Youth, or DAPSY, to file police reports, and he specifically suggested which sections of the penal code the police should investigate under. This included Section 503 for criminal intimidation,
Okay.
Section 504 for intentional insult with intent to provoke a breach of the peace, and Section 505, which covers statements conducing to public mischief, like causing fear or alarm.
And I heard he also mentioned the newer anti-bullying laws. That seems significant.
Absolutely. That's a key point. He also suggested invoking Section 507B, which deals with acts causing harassment, alarm, or distress, and Section 507C, covering verbal conduct causing the same. It sends a clear signal, doesn't it, that bullying, even under the banner of a protest, isn't acceptable and has legal consequences.
Loke also made a point about the flag itself, saying it needs respect, but that intimidation and bullying aren't the way to solve issues. It shows DAP's stance on rule of law, I suppose.
Exactly. And that sentiment was echoed, maybe even amplified, by the Penang DAPSY wing. They took a very hard line. He actually called for the national DLT and DAPSY leadership to completely cut ties with Akmal and to commit to not cooperating with him in any way in future elections.
Wow, completely cut ties. That's quite a demand, especially within a unity government context. Why such a drastic call?
Their reasoning was pretty direct. They felt Akmal's actions, like publicly intimidating prosecutors and business owners, were a serious attack on the rule of law in Malaysia. They argued it went against the unity government's spirit of moderation and harmony, and instead potentially stoked racial tensions. They also pointed out what they saw as double standards.
Double standards. How
Yeah.
so?
Well, Penang DAPSY highlighted that when similar flag incidents allegedly involved UMNO Youth in Terengganu or the Pan-Malaysian Islamic Party previously, Akmal's response was apparently much milder, sort of downplayed. But in this case involving the business, they felt he deliberately escalated it, aligning his rhetoric more with opposition parties like the Malaysian United Indigenous Party, or PAS. They essentially accused him of acting like a hatchet man for Perikatan Nasional, despite UMNO being part of the government.
That's a strong accusation.
Their core point was, if the business broke the law, let the police handle it through proper channels, not through, as they put it, political figures acting like moral police. That sets a dangerous precedent, they argued.
Moral police. Yeah, that phrase really captures the concern. Then you also had Tan Teck Cheng from the Malaysian Chinese Association, MCA, weighing in. Even though MCA isn't in the current federal government, they're part of the broader political landscape.
Yes. Tan Teck Cheng urged Stephen Sim, who is DAP's Penang chairman and also the Minister of Human Resources, to take this issue of Akmal disturbing public order right to the cabinet. He basically asked for the Home Minister to take action. Tan Teck Cheng raised a pointed question: Why was the hardware store owner arrested and potentially charged so quickly, like the very next day?
Right.
But there wasn't similar swiftness regarding Akmal's actions. He suggested this perceived inaction by the authorities might be emboldening Akmal, making him seem above the law. And he also pointed out the waste of resources, businesses closing, police having to be on standby, all because of this one demonstration. It hurts the economy and, social trust.
So we're seeing reactions from within the unity government partners like DAP and also from parties like MCA. But perhaps the most direct and blunt comments came from Ting Chang Kim, the former Selangor executive counselor. He apparently called on voters to give UMNO not a single vote in the next election. That's quite something.
Yes, Teng Kim's statements were very sharp, very direct. He didn't mince words. Besides urging voters to reject UMNO, he used incredibly strong language, saying, essentially, next election, let UMNO kneel for our votes.
Kneel for votes. Wow. In Malaysian politics, that kind of language carries a lot of weight, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It signifies deep anger and a call for accountability through the ballot box. And significantly, his warning wasn't just aimed at UMNO. He also put Pakatan Harapan, the coalition DAP belongs to, on notice. He stated very clearly that cooperating with UMNO before the next election was unacceptable.
He drew a line there.
Yes, he said something like, last time it was post-election cooperation, next time pre-election cooperation is also out. Anyone who embraces UMNO before the election will bring them down too.
That's a serious warning to his own coalition partners.
It is. It goes beyond just criticizing Akmal's specific actions. It's a major signal about the future of political alliances, about political integrity, and it reflects deep concern about how these incidents affect public trust in the current government arrangement. He's basically saying coalitions need to be mindful of who they associate with or face the consequences from voters.
And Teng has a history of being critical about these kinds of issues being politicized, right? Like the whole flag-flying debate previously.
Exactly. He's been consistent in his view that forcing patriotism or using national symbols for political games isn't right. So his recent comments fit that pattern, seeing this as political maneuvering rather than genuine concern. So if you string all these reactions together, from Anthony Loga's legal focus, Penang DAP's call to sever ties, right through to Ting Chang Kim's direct challenge to UMNO and PH, you see this isn't just about one protest. It's perceived as a challenge to the legal system and social harmony. Different political figures are clearly worried about the long-term damage this kind of behavior could do, especially to the rule of law and interethnic relations in Malaysia.
It really does make you think. When national symbols get used, maybe weaponized like this to stir emotions, potentially trying to bypass legal processes, how do we as citizens tell the difference between genuine patriotism and, well, political opportunism? And after incidents like this, where does it leave Malaysia's social harmony and the respect for the rule of law? How do we move forward? Thanks for tuning into Wawasan Wire. If you found this discussion insightful, please remember to like and subscribe for more content like this.